Hi, welcome to Fly Tying, the Angler's Art. I'm Carolyn Sells. This, of course, is LeRoy Hyatt, and today's program we're going to tie 2 trout flies, and then we have a steelhead fly. We're going to start out with the silver Hilton, and we got a dock Spratley with no wing, and then we got a Baetis Krystal flash.
Very small, tiny little fly.
Right, but you're going to start out with the
Silver Hilton. Yes, I'll use a 6/0 black tying thread. The hook is a steelhead heavy wire hook. The tag will be flat silver tinsel. The body is a fine black chenille. The rib is a silver sinking rib. What this is a silver braid with a lead substitute inside. The tail will be pintail duck or mallard breast, or just something with a different coloration. The wing will be the grizzly hackle tips. They will be flared, and then the collar will be the hen hackle. Now this hen hackle I have may not be long enough to what I really like, but we'll give it a try and see what happens. All right, I'll dress the shank like I always do with this 6/0 thread. And I can't stress that enough. Dress that shank, dress that shank. It'll make the fly body so much more durable. It will stay together. It will stay where you put it. Yes, a good foundation. Now I've just taken a very few of these fibers for a tail, pinched them together, and I'll tie it in place.
Now, is this a new pattern for you?
I've not tied this. No, I haven't.
Okay.
But you know, this fly is old. It's been around for a long time, but it's really a neat fly, This rib, I don't think you have seen this either. You were saying that this was different, but you can see it's quite stiff. It will give that fly just a little bit of additional weight.
Oh, it's kind of a weighted
Yes,
tinsel?
it is.
Okay.
It has a lead substitute inside that gold rib. So here comes the chenille, and I'm not even going to pull any of that chenille off. You know how we usually pull a little bit of it off? I'll just lay it on the full length of the body. Come up to the front, or close to it. And again, I always take a wrap of my body material behind the rib. Always, always.
Why
well,
do you
because what happens then is the rib is actually starting right inside the body. It will never fall off the end. Have you ever looked at some of the flies that come from overseas where the rib is actually falling off the back onto the tail? Okay. This will not let that happen that way at all. We'll just make a nice, neat little body here. I'm going to go a couple more maybe. I don't like to get up there too close. I tell every class, don't crowd the head, don't crowd the head, and that's
usually their first mistake.
Yes, and that's very easy to do, very, very easy to do. I'll get rid of that. I'm going to take a quick 1/2 inch in it as I run that rib up. And this rotary vise, I always use my rotary to put ribbing on because it keeps it so even as you come across. And 4 or 5 wraps is all you need. You don't need a lot of ribbing. I mean, if you want a silver body, put a silver body. I see some of them that are so close together, I don't know.
See the body
you
material.
can't see the body, basically, is what it is. Now, these 2 hackle tips, they are flared. Unlike the one fly we tie where I put the grizzly hackle tips together, these will be shiny side to shiny side, which makes them flare.
So they flare out away.
So I'll hold it up, I'll get a quick measurement and strip those butt sections off.
Now this is, how long is this? Is about the same length as the tail?
I'm having it about the same length as the tail, yes. And with that flared wing like that, you know, I've looked at this picture, picture of this fly, I've looked at it, always wondered why I haven't tied it to fish it. With those wings separated like that, it's going to really give a lot of motion in the water.
Okay.
Now, I wished I had a longer hen hackle than what I have here. It's just not really long enough to do the fly justice to wrap it around. So I think what I'm going to do is try to find a webby hackle on the underside of one of these necks. It's not actually a hen hackle, but it will do the trick. I'm sure it will.
Longer.
Yeah, it's longer. I think it will work just fine. And I'm going to tie this by the butt. Now I know normally I tie them by the tip, but I want those longer fibers that are here. So I'm going to tie that down. And just a couple of wraps of this is really all you need. You don't need a great deal of it. A wrap and a half maybe. Got them going every which direction. Fold it back over itself, and I'll capture it right here and clip it off. And then I'm going to fold this back and just wrap back over it slightly. Now I've left a lot of room.
That pushes everything back
Yes,
and down.
it does.
Okay.
But I've left a lot of room here at the head. A lot of room. We find a lot of guys will want to riffle hitch that fly, which means tie a half hitch basically with your leader right there, which will make that wet fly skate through the water.
So that's why you
It
leave
will
a
keep
little more
it,
room.
yes. Because
Okay.
if you get up too close, you don't have that opportunity to do that. It covers the whole head, and you need that additional room.
And that gives the fly a little more action when
The
they
fly
do that?
will not
Okay.
sink when you have that riffle hitch in it. It just
Wow.
will not
Okay.
sink. And it just skitters across the top of the water. I don't do that with mine because I find I tie enough knots in my leader unintentionally. So I don't, and I could be
Don't use
missing.
that technique.
No, and I may be missing out on fish by not doing that. I know a lot of guys that do it, but I don't know. It's just a mental block thing, I guess I have. But there's a silver Hilton. It has the mallard flank tail, has small or fine chenille. It's ribbed with a sinking silver tinsel, has a grizzly hackle tip wing and the soft grizzly collar. For our next fly, Carolyn will tie an unwinged Dock Spratley. Now,
Spratley.
we've tied a Dock Spratley on previous shows some time ago. Dave and I, I'm sure, tied it. But I've not seen an unwinged Dock Spratley. I believe this is a Canadian fly. I believe it's where it originated for the lake fishing up there. I have fished a Dock Spratley in Canada, in British Columbia especially, in several lakes up there. It's a phenomenal fly.
Yeah, it's a great rainbow
I'm
fly.
sure it would work around here also.
Yeah.
I really think it would.
Okay, so here's what we're going to use. We're going to use 8/0 thread. We've got number 14 long shank.
You tie a lot of small flies with this, don't you?
Yeah, I do. We're going to use pheasant rump for the tail and also for the beard.
Okay.
We've got some black poly, silver tinsel, and of course we're going to use the old peacock, again, okay? Our favorite.
Now, when you use that long hackle, and then maybe I should wait and ask you this when you get to it, but you're tying on a size 14.
Right.
You're using pheasant rump. It's going to be twice as long as the hook.
Well, it depends on what you're using it for.
Oh,
Okay.
so
We're
you're not tying it in as a soft hackle. Then.
Right. That's.
Oh,
there
I
we
got
go.
ahead of myself. Okay.
Well, that's okay. I have
All
to,
right. Okay.
surprise you once in a while here.
Okay.
And the ones I like to get, of course, are the blue ones.
Yes.
Yes, we like the little blue ones. So we're going to strip off a little bit. We've dressed our hook, of course.
Yep.
We're going to take just a few strands. I got maybe 4 or 5. And we're
Now-
going to tie in a tail. Right.
You
at the
make
bit.
that what, about as long as the shank?
Well, I'm going to shorten this up a little bit. It's going to be a short tail.
Okay.
Okay. We'll cut this off. Okay, we're going to take our black poly, and we want to tie this sparse.
Now, do you tie it any other color?
Boy, I've not seen another color.
We
in a
used
Dock
red ones
Spratley.
up there a lot, black and red up there. But
Red Dock Spratleys.
But they dubbed the bodies up there.
Oh,
at least
really?
that's where I learned it, was up at that little lake, Tonquah Lake. I caught fish
I've never
in there.
heard of that lake.
Oh, I caught fish up there, rainbow, that were probably as big as some of the steelhead I've caught.
Ooh, on a Dock
Unbelievable
Spratley, huh?
Hard-hitting fish. And the neat thing about up there is they're loons. And
Yeah.
they listen to the loons go off. That's really neat.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, that's okay. I like fishing stories. That's all right. Okay, we're going to tie in our we got a fine silver tinsel. We're going to tie that in here in the back. And we're going to take this thread back up, 2/3 way up here. We're going to tie in our...
Now this must be just a kind of a film fly. It won't sink much, will it?
Well, you can use this with a sinking tip.
Okay.
Yeah, depending, of course, on the lake, or you can fish it floating line off the weeds.
Well, with that poly, I was thinking that it may not sink as deep as if it were some other material.
It tends to hold the air in, doesn't it?
Right.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and cut this off.
But it makes a flatter body.
Yes,
like
it
you
does.
said before. Yeah, that's kind of neat.
Okay, we're going to wrap our tinsel around here.
I don't recall that I have ever tied a wet fly with poly yarn.
And of course, I think we're getting gold and silver instead of the silver.
Oh, that happens all the time.
We'll fake it out here.
And you're reverse wrapping that. Why?
That's
because
the gold wouldn't want to go.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to do about 3 wraps on that.
Yep.
Okay.
That'd be
And then we're
plenty.
going to cut this off. Okay, now we're going to... Oh, we need to tie in a little beard right here at the edge of this. I'm going to use the blue again. So we're going to tie a little beard right here, right below, right where we tie in at our poly.
So you're just holding it underneath the hook.
We're going to pull it up.
Now see, I do that when I tie my beard. I rotate my vise over, lock it in position, tie it just like you're tying it on top. But there again,
That's
it's
probably a
just
good idea.
different techniques. The finished product's the
now
same.
we're going to put in our peacock curl.
So that's going to become basically the head.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. We'll probably need about this much. Okay, we're going to tie this in up here at the front. This makes kind of an elegant looking fly. It's quite a bit different than the one with the wing.
And the
Very
flies,
sleek.
Okay. The fly that I learned this with up there is a long shank hook and considerably bigger than that. Now again, you fish that on above a weed bed?
You can, yep. Or I've caught fish deep with this also.
Oh, have you really?
Yeah.
Put it on a heavy line? Okay.
Let it sink, and then just strip it in slow.
Or just kick along and in
Yeah,
your float
troll,
tube or kick
yeah.
back.
Oh, thread broke here. Hang on, we're going to have to regroup. There, we got it.
I am so glad to see that I'm not the only one that breaks their thread.
If you tie flies, you're going to break your thread.
But if you would learn to say tag instead of button and things like that.
Fuzz instead of,
Yeah,
what is it you
okay.
call it?
Underfur.
Oh yeah, fur. No, fuzz is better. Okay, I
Good
think I got
job.
it that time.
You salvaged it.
I salvaged it. We got a little piece hanging there.
And you
There
know
we go.
that beard?
Doesn't that make it elegant looking?
That beard will
sleek fly.
really kick in the water. It will make
Yeah.
it really look alive.
Yeah,
Neat
Doc
fly.
Spratley.
Neat fly.
So we've got a little pheasant rump for the tail. We've got some black poly, fine silver tinsel. We've got pheasant rump for a beard, and finished it off with peacock curl up front. Doc
You
Spratley.
could also put a bead head on that.
Yes, you could.
I'll
I've
bet
seen
you
that
could very
pattern
easily.
also. But it makes a very sleek looking
Sure,
fly.
you bet.
Okay, this next fly is going to be a Baetis Krystal Flash Nymph, right?
Right.
So what are we using
And
for
you
this
know,
one?
I don't know why they call it a nymph, it may not be a nymph, it may just be Baetis Krystal Flash. I can't remember that, but I just absolutely fell in love with this fly. It's a very bright, shiny fly.
Okay.
I have a size 14 laying out to tie it on. I do this simply because it's easier for the camera to pick up. They say tie it anywhere from a 16 to a 20.
Ooh, I'd like this one.
Yeah,
then.
it is. It's neat. So I'll use a black 8/0 thread. I have the size 14 hook. This, they call for a dark dun hackle fiber tail. This is a natural black pheasant, and I'll use that for the tail. Then where the fly gets its name, the black Krystal Flash, and the dubbing will be, a brown. Now you could also use a black dubbing with this. I'll start the thread on the shank. As always, dress the hook shank, as always.
So you've used this one before?
I have used this
Okay.
one, and the trouble I had while I was using this, I was in Alberta, Canada.
So it's another Canadian fly?
Well, that's where I first saw it, but no, they use it on the Henry's Fork.
Okay.
A lot of spring creeks they use it on. So I'll tie on this tail. The reason that I could not make this fly work for me in Canada is because I didn't have any 7X tippet, which is like
7X.
a pound and a half, and I didn't have anything that small.
So this is your black pheasant, right, that you're
This
using
is black
here?
pheasant.
Okay.
If you don't have that, don't worry about it. Just any dark hen.
Yeah, I've never seen a black pheasant.
Yeah,
tape
any
before.
kind of a dark dun. Then we'll use a little bit of this black crystal flash. I'll just strip a little bit of it off here. And you know, the smaller the fly, the less material you're going to use. And just tying one of them like this, it's kind of hard sometimes to guesstimate how much you're going to need. But we'll see what happens with this. All right, I'll get those tips all nice and straight. Soft loop, pinch it down, and I'll run forward just to make sure it's all bound down in place. Bring my tying thread. I'm about up where the thorax area is. I've got a little short one there. I'm going to twist that. Just twist it around and make a little rope out of it, if you will. Wrap the hook with it. And you can see what that's going to do.
Creates a little rib.
For the body.
Yeah.
It just makes it shiny. Just unbelievable shiny, shiny body.
Oh, yeah.
Tie it down, but I'm not going to cut those off. That is going to become a wing case. Now, like I said, I did not get to catch a fish on this fly, but I love the way it looks in the water. You can actually see that little black, shiny body and wing case as the fly gets closer to you as you're stripping it in.
Okay.
And it is so neat. I just really like the looks of it.
So this would be a great little dropper fly, it sounds to me like.
It could,
Yeah.
sure, it could. However, up there, we were fishing, I was trying to fish it in the film, but it just
Strike
it didn't
indicator
work
or
right.
just?
No, just straight, just straight. Just a little bit of dubbing. And here you could use black dubbing if you wanted. I've just grabbed a tan. It just gives a little bit of an offset to it.
Contrast.
A little contrast.
Okay.
Fold all this out of the way and dub the body, or dub the head. Then here comes the wing case over the top. Fold it down, tie it off. But just a neat, neat little fly. The little wing case just stands out there just shining.
Oh yeah, that is shiny.
And that crystal flash is really quite durable. A fish won't get in there and tear it up real bad.
Oh yeah, nice.
Then you can take your scissors or a bodkin or whatever. I have a little piece of Velcro on a stick that I do this with sometimes, and just pick
pick it
that
out.
out a little. But there's a little Baetis Krystal nymph. Just a super, super little fly.
Cool.
It's got a dark dun hackle fiber tail. The body is made from twisted black crystal flash. It's got a dub tan thorax. The wing case is the black crystal flash.
Okay, LeRoy, we have time for you to do another bonus fly. So we have a PTO nymph.
PTO nymph.
Okay.
This is different. Almost similar to a pheasant tail nymph,
Right.
only it has an ostrich thorax. So here we go. I'll use a brown 8/0 tying thread. I have a size 12 in the vise. You could tie it 1 or 2 sizes bigger and probably 3 or 4 sizes smaller.
Smaller, yeah.
The tail will be 3 strands of pheasant tail, which leads me to believe that it's a mayfly nymph. However, it's on a dry fly hook, so I'm sure it's in the film.
Okay.
The body will also be of the pheasant tail. We'll rivet with a copper wire. I will reverse wrap this to give it more durability and strength. Now this is where it differs from the pheasant tail. We'll use a black ostrich. You could also use olive or a dark brown for the thorax. fold that wing case of pheasant tail over, have pheasant tail legs, and we're all done. Okay, we'll see what happens here. I have the hook and the vise. I'll grab this 8/0 brown thread, and we'll dress the shank. Now see, when I tie my pheasant tails, I usually just take a big clump of this and then use that same material for the body.
Yeah,
this one
so
you
do
won't be
I.
able to do that because they're calling for only 3 fibers.
Yeah.
And I just cut some off. I don't know how many I got, probably more than 3. All right, there's 3. And you know, I can't tell you that the fish are going to know whether there's 3 or 5. I don't know. But we'll try to do this according to Hoyle. Okay. I'm going to tie in the copper rib. And this wire, it really does give this fly durability. That pheasant tail is not all that, it's on the fragile side.
Yeah, as soon as a fish bites on it, it usually snaps. You got it sticking out.
Now here I will just grab a few. This is a smaller hook, and I don't really care at this point how many I have because I don't have to make legs with this or anything. So I'm just going to tie them by the butt.
Okay.
And I'll get this forward up to the thorax area. Again, I'm going to take a wrap of this behind my copper rib. You also have to be careful here as you go around underneath that hook that you don't
catch
the hook point because you will break these very, very easily. I capture that with my finger as I go around. Tie it down. Now, the next one I would tie, I would have less fibers in it than that one does.
Make it a little
bit,
sleeker looking.
A little bit. Now I'm going to reverse wrap this copper wire. Tie it down. Clip it off. Here comes the, no, I got to tie in the wing case and the legs assembly. I will get a measurement for it. I don't like to trim the legs as I fold them over. I want it to be
a little shorter than that tail then.
Yeah, and I like the pointiness of the natural leg rather than trimming them off. And this may be a little longer than I like, but it will probably be all right. Now I'll take one strand of ostrich. I'll tie it in by the butt. Here again, like we said, you could use tan, olive, a darker tan.
Oh, this is going to give it a totally different look, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Here comes the ostrich. Get rid of that. Fold these over, the wing case. Folding it over. Tie it down. And then I'll grab, as even as I can, fibers to make the legs on either side.
Okay.
Tie it down. Fold it on my side.
I like the look of that ostrich.
It does. It sets it off. It really does. And build a little head. And there's legs on either side. I got a couple of them strung underneath here, but I think it will work okay. Build a little head. And we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. It's called a PTO Nymph. Has the pheasant tail fibers for the tail and body and wing case and legs. Then it has the black ostrich for the thorax area.
Well, we had time for 4 flies this program, and we tied a silver Hilton.
Steelhead fly.
Steelhead fly. We've got a Dock Spratley with no wing. We've got a Baetis Krystal Flash Nymph, and I believe a PTO Nymph.
Nymph was the bonus.
So great flies. That's all the time we have for this program. We'll see you next week.
LeRoy and Carolyn have produced a 60-minute video demonstrating how to tie 10 of their favorite flies, available on DVD number 28 for $18.95 plus shipping and handling. Programs from this series are also available on DVD. Each disc contains 2 programs and costs $18.95 plus shipping and handling. Please indicate disc number 26 for this episode. You can get the complete series of 13 programs for $89.95. Credit cards are accepted. To order, call 1-800-883-0124 or visit our website, kwsu.org. For more information about this program, please visit our website, kwsu.org.